Благодарю за внимание.
After delivering his address to the General Assembly, Russia's chief diplomat engaged, as is his tradition with the International Press Corps, where he largely blamed Ukraine, supported by the United States and other Western countries, for the ongoing war in that country.
Возник в результате
This broke out as a result of the West transforming Ukraine over many long years into an anti-Russia, preparations for it being dragged into NATO, and encouragement of the regime in Kiev, which came to power as a result of a key and the generation of direct threats to the Russian Federation and our borders, as well as the annihilation of everything Russian in Ukraine, in its laws, in its educational system, in terms of mass information, media, and culture, and so on and so forth. So this is a crisis in European security. This is an ongoing crisis.
Since we've been talking a lot about Antonio Guterres,
We pressed him on that crisis, quoting the words of the Secretary General Antonio Guterres.
let me quote what he said in the Security Council on Wednesday. Russia's invasion of Ukraine, in clear violation of the United Nations Charter and international law, is aggravating geopolitical tensions and divisions, threatening regional stability, increasing a nuclear threat, and creating deep fissures in our increasingly multipolar world. You'll be aware, Minister, that the big focus at this UN General Assembly has been the Sustainable Development Goals and the lack of implementation. Only 15% of the targets have been met. Is this war not a continued distraction from the bigger and broader development agenda of this organization?
И они хотят, конечно,
Of course, it's a distraction, only it's not the war that's a distraction, but the West is doing everything to distract attention from the problems that it itself has been creating for many years in the global economy, including on the food and energy markets. Of course, they want to reduce all problems of global development to this ongoing war. It is the West that is trying to blame Russia and Russia's actions in Ukraine for all the world's problems, and they're not successful in this.
On Russia returning to the grain deal that it exited in July over concerns that its part of the two-tier agreement was not being implemented, Lavrov acknowledged efforts by the UN to get the deal back on track, but poured cold water on the potential for those efforts to succeed.
С уважением отношусь к усилиям.
I respect the efforts of Rebecca Greenspan, the Secretary General of UNCTAD. They are genuinely making an effort here, but we have not seen our main agricultural bank return to the SWIFT system, nor have we seen a solution for to allow Russia's unimpeded access to ports in the Mediterranean and others, nor a solution to the issue of insurance, whose cost has risen fourfold. None of this was addressed.
We explained to the Secretary General why his proposals won't work. We don't reject them. They are simply not realistic. They cannot be implemented in and of themselves.
And Russia's relationship with Africa in the aftermath of the Russia-Africa summit in July.
Два направления основных. Это торговля.
With every country, we have a bilateral agenda, and there were two main thrusts: trade, as such, on the one hand, and joint investment projects, infrastructure plans, educational projects, culture, and much else. And of course, medicine and healthcare was also discussed. And in many countries, there is an understanding that we are not looking to exploit natural resources, to export them and to process them at home, but rather to establish a foundation for their own economy that will generate added value, thereby raising their GDP.
The high-level segment of the UN General Assembly concludes on Tuesday. Sherwin Brycebees, SABC News, New York.